Welcome to Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El Rome.
And I'm Erin Viner.
In our top story, Jerusalem is welcoming a new era in ties with New Delhi after Narendra Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel. The three-day state visit came on the 25th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two nations and has been touted as a very significant step towards the strengthening of bilateral relations. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held high-level discussions with his Indian counterpart, focusing on ways to enhance joint cooperation in security, intelligence sharing, agriculture, water, energy, and many other sectors. Modi's itinerary included an address to thousands of Jewish expatriates from his nation now living in Israel and the laying of a wreath at the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial in Jerusalem. The Indian premier also made history by not holding any meetings with Palestinian leaders during his regional visit.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu became the first head of state to ever welcome the USS George H.W. Bush aircraft carrier upon its arrival at a foreign port of call. The world's largest warship spent the 4th of July anchored about 2.5 miles off the coast of Haifa. It's been 17 years since the last American vessel of this size docked in Israeli waters. The 1,092-foot-long ship can host a crew of 5,000 to 6,000 crew members and accommodate 90 fighter jets and helicopters. It was deployed from the shores of Virginia on January 21st as part of Operation Inherent Resolve to combat the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. Captain Will Pennington spoke of the close ties that the U.S. holds with the Israeli Defense Forces and praised the tremendous network of shared intelligence between the two allies.
Israel retaliated against Syrian targets 18 times in a week following the continuation of shelling over the northern border. One Syrian-fired rocket even slammed into the Golan Heights while Prime Minister Netanyahu was visiting the area to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the founding of the city of Katzrin. The Israeli leader reiterated that no spillover violence from the Syrian civil war will be tolerated and that there will be a response to each missile or mortar shell that lands in the Jewish state.
The head of IDF intelligence has confirmed that Iran is now building a weapons factory in Lebanon. Jerusalem believes that Tehran decided to provide the Hezbollah terror group with arms produced on site after previous shipments from the Islamic Republic were targeted by Israeli airstrikes. This outrageous development now poses a major dilemma for Israel over whether or not to attack the facility. Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman said that Israel has no intention of starting a war. For now, the Jewish state will attempt to resolve the escalation through diplomatic channels.
Israeli Arab Knesset member Basil Gattis has begun a 2-year prison term after being convicted of smuggling cell phones to security prisoners and transferring encrypted messages between inmates. One of the prisoners with whom Gattis held close ties was Palestinian terrorist Walid Daqqa, who received a life sentence for the 1984 abduction and murder of Israeli soldier Moshe Tamam. The disgraced parliamentarian of the Joint Arab List political party remains defiant, even though he initially denied involvement in the crime until being confronted with videotaped evidence. He has expressed no remorse or acknowledgement of the wrongdoing. He declared that he enjoys the real support of his people and would enter his cell with pride. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is taking a firm stand against the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement, vowing to combat the anti-Israel hate campaign. During a special event at Gracie Mansion honoring Jewish heritage, de Blasio acknowledged the recent rise of anti-Semitism in the United States and declared it won't be tolerated in New York City, where he said the Jewish community is cherished. The mayor went on to praise Israel as the answer to industrial oppression going back thousands of years, and he spoke about the close relationship between the city of New York and Jerusalem. De Blasio said history teaches us why the Jewish people need and deserve a homeland, which he said is one of the reasons he so strongly opposes BDS.
The European Society of Cardiology is preparing to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel when it convenes its annual conference in Barcelona next month. Organizers say that this symbolic gesture will be accompanied by an official apology for having previously cited Tel Aviv as the capital of the Jewish nation. About 30,000 participants from around the world are expected to take part in the conference, and one of the lecture halls is even set to be formally inaugurated as the Jerusalem Hall. The president of the Israel Heart Society lobbied for this moving change of heart. Professor Ron Kornofsky expressed happiness that his group's efforts helped to correct a political injustice which he said has no place in medicine or any other international arena. Israeli experts showcased the country's high-tech wonders, such as robots and other impressive innovations, at the 2017 World Intelligence Congress in China. Industry leaders from the Jewish state shared their insights into their latest successes and applications, primarily in the field of artificial intelligence. The conference serves as a cooperation and exchange platform for global leaders and entrepreneurs to discuss changes and opportunities brought about by AI technology.
If you have a worthwhile high-tech product to improve intelligence operations, now's your chance to pitch it to the Mossad. Israel's renowned security agency has set up an investment fund to help the development of new cloak and dagger know-how and is offering grants of nearly $600,000 per project to bring in new ideas. A video accompanying the launch of the program, codenamed Libertad, shows a female espionage agent utilizing top-notch technology to identify suspects. Specific points of interest include robotics, miniaturization, and encryption, as well as new automated methods of gleaning information from documents and ways to carry out missions with even greater stealth.
It's now known just how the royal robes worn by King Solomon looked thanks to new archaeological discoveries of 3,000-year-old fabric. Cloth found in Israel's southern Negev desert displays vibrant, colorful dyes extracted from ancient plants that were abundant in biblical times. Reds were created in a complex process of reduction and oxidization from the roots of madder, and the blue is from indigotin that likely originated from wood. Experts believe that the patterns were used to mark the high status of fine craftsmen and metal workers in the copper mines of the Timna Valley 10 to 11 centuries before the Common Era. The dozens of textile fragments are the earliest evidence of garments ever found in the Holy Land.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Lipnick, a professor at the Israel Institute of Biblical Studies. And today, we're going to take a look at the names in the Bible. Did you ever wonder why so many names in the Bible end with the letters EL? Look at the names of the angels in the Bible, for example. The Bible tells us about Michael and Gabriel. Michael, or Michael, means who is like God. And Gabriel, or Gavriel, means God is my strength. And both of those names appear in the biblical book of Daniel, which means God is my judge. All of those names, all three of them, conclude with the letters EL, El, one of the most ancient names of the God of Israel. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to learn more about the authentic meaning of the Holy Scriptures, call now or visit our website.
That concludes the news portion of our show. Stay tuned for Ask the Source with Josh Reinstein.
Hello and welcome to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. We're here on a beautiful sunny day on our rooftop studio in Jerusalem. My guest today is Gabriel Barkai. He is the co-director of the Temple Mount Sifting Project. Gabriel, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Gabriel, tell our viewers a little about what is the Temple Mount Sifting Project?
About 15 years or so ago, the Islamic trust that runs everyday matters upon the Temple Mount dug illicitly a barbaric dig in the southeastern corner of the Temple Mount, removing from that pit approximately 400 truckloads of earth saturated with the history of the Temple Mount. That is without any supervision, any scientific knowledge or so. And they dumped that material into the nearby Kidron Valley. And since 2004, we are sifting that soil, and we have had during that time an enormous amount of information about the Temple Mount's history. One should mention that the Temple Mount, though being the most important archaeological site in this country and one of the most important ones in the world, was never ever excavated.
You know, it's interesting that you said that they illegally dug up the Temple Mount. How are they allowed to do this? How did the government of Israel allow them to not only dig up the archaeological findings of the Temple Mount and then toss it in the garbage?
The fact is that it was done. Allegedly, it was done in order to open an emergency exit for an illicitly built subterranean mosque built into the building, which is known by the name Solomon's Stables, which has nothing to do with Solomon, was not built as stables, otherwise the name is okay. That building turned into a mosque and it was inaugurated in 1996.
What's amazing about the project is that actual students in Israel get to come and sift through the archaeological findings of the Temple Mount. People from around the world get to come and be a part of that. Why have you opened it up to so many people to take a part in this important initiative?
Listen, this is also an educational project. It's not only an archaeological project. We think that the people should know the significance of the Temple Mount and its heritage. We have had until now over 250,000 volunteers coming from all facets of Israeli society, from all parts of the world. This is the most exposed archaeological project in the world.
We saw in the latest UNESCO decision that there's this revisionist history trying to take away the connection of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. How important is the Sifting Project in combating these lies?
Listen, those decisions of UNESCO are so ridiculous that they do not even need an answer. But in fact, we have to mention that the Temple Mount is referred to more than 20 times in the New Testament. It is the soul, heart and spirit of the Jewish people, the only holy place that we have for Jews. All synagogues all around the world are directed towards the Temple Mount. That is the first place created by the Almighty, the rest of the world created around it. This is so ridiculous to say that there is no connection. There are the Mishnah, the Talmud, the writings of Flavius Josephus, in addition to the biblical account, all this and writings of other historical sources. They describe the temple, and the temple denial is a new phenomenon which was born in the 90s only. In any case, this is abuse of history and of the ancient sources for modern political purposes.
Gabriel, there are literally tens of millions of people watching this show. What message do you have for our viewing audience?
We do the Temple Mount Sifting Project as messengers of all of you. We have no governmental support. The Temple Mount Sifting Project discovered about 500,000 finds which shed light on different periods in the history of the Temple Mount. Please help us to go on.
Thank you, Gabriel, for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in to Ask the Source. I'm your host, Josh Reinstein. Now back to the studio.
Up next, the return to Zion with Keren Hayesod.
Shalom and welcome to the Return to Zion with Keren Hayesod. I'm Eliezer Moody Sandberg, World Chairman of Keren Hayesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Today, you will witness the fulfillment of biblical prophecy through the gathering of the exiles. God bless you from Jerusalem.
Those who dreamed about the Jewish state, those who survived the Holocaust and found in Israel the anchor, the security, those who wrought the historical miracle and against all odds established a state, those who stepped into the breach and defended the young Jewish state, so many of them paid with their lives, those who arrived in the homeland to their new home, those who propelled Israel forward step after step, those who stand at the technological vanguard, and the loyal partners who ensure the continuation of the Zionist enterprise. All those are Keren HaYesod, because Keren HaYesod is Eretz Israel. The return of an ancient people to their biblical homeland, a nation whose values inspired mankind, only to endure centuries of suffering. The ultimate tale of redemption from the ashes of destruction. This remarkable story is the story of the State of Israel. It is also the story of Keren HaYesod. Thanks to the dedication of Keren HaYesod supporters, huge resources were available to make the State of Israel a reality. Founded in 1920, Keren HaYesod galvanized Jewish donors across the world in a unified effort to develop the infrastructure of the first sovereign Jewish state in 2,000 years.
אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל. היא מדינת ישראל.
By the time the State of Israel was born in 1948, Keren HaYesod's funds had been the driving force behind the establishment of over 900 communities in the Jewish homeland. Its donors helped found many of the iconic institutions we know today, including the Hebrew University and Israel's Philharmonic Orchestra, ensuring that, as Zechariah envisioned, Jerusalem's streets would once more be filled with boys and girls at play. Keren HaYesod's supporters also helped rescue tens of thousands of desperate Jews fleeing a burning Europe, bringing them to the sanctuary of the land of Israel. Ezekiel's prophecy of bringing dry bones to life had been fulfilled. Throughout the decades, Keren HaYesod has been there for Jewish people coming home. In the 1950s, by financing the creation of still vibrant cities, Eilat and Sderot, bringing to life Ben-Gurion's vision of making the Negev desert bloom. In the 1960s and 70s, raising funds and providing a lifeline for the country's development during wartime. And at the close of the century, helping to bring immigrants from the four corners of the earth in a modern-day exodus, rescuing tens of thousands of Jews from Ethiopia and 1 million Jews from the former Soviet Union, delivering them from danger and distress. To this day, Keren HaYesod's activists continue their mission of aliyah and absorption. Last year, more than 31,000 Jews were helped to make their lives in the land of their ancestors. Keren HaYesod remains at the heart of Israel's development, as Israel's barren land has been transformed into a hub of creativity, innovation, and success. Keren HaYesod's supporters have been there every step of the way. They have empowered 2,000 pioneering young Israelis to reinvigorate 65 distressed communities. All of this has been achieved through Keren HaYesod's ongoing efforts to build unbreakable bonds with Israel among Jews in the diaspora, Christians, and people of faith from across the world. In the book of Jeremiah, the Lord says, "There is a hope for your future. Your children will return to their borders." Every day, Keren HaYesod supporters are making this vision a reality. Thanks to Keren HaYesod, the State of Israel continues to grow from strength to strength.
Come join Keren HaYesod in fulfilling biblical prophecy. Let's bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
Read your Bible. The city of Haifa does not appear in the Bible. The city of Tel Aviv does appear in the Bible, but it's not a city in the land of Israel. It's a city in Babylonia. Ashkelon, Ashdod, the major cities of Israel today, those were Philistine cities throughout much of the biblical period. What were the Jewish cities of the land of Israel during the Bible? They were Bethlehem, they were Jericho, they were Hebron, and of course Jerusalem. The lands of Judea and Samaria, often referred to by the world as the West Bank, are the ancestral homelands of the Jewish people. They are our tribal lands in the way that members of Native American tribes would have tribal lands. And for anybody in the world to say that a Jewish person cannot live in his or her tribal lands would be unthinkable. Certainly in any other context, would not say a member of the Sioux Nation or of the Navajo Nation couldn't live in their native lands, their tribal lands, would be unthinkable. So too is it unthinkable here. These lands are part and parcel of our Jewish identity. They are our ancient heritage, our patrimony. And as Israel remains committed to peace and understands that there's another people who also view these lands as their homelands, we will never, ever concede our right to all of these lands, because they belong to us by virtue of our history, our tradition, and of course, of our faith. Judea and Samaria are the tribal lands of the Jewish people. Have any doubt about it? There's a book I can recommend. It's actually the world's biggest bestseller. It's called the Bible.
Lift up your eyes and look around. All your children gather and come to you. The biblical prophecy is unfolding right before our very eyes. The people of Israel are returning to the Promised Land after 2,000 years of exile. But millions of Jews are still longing to come home. Anti-Semitism threatens many of the Jews. We must rescue them before the window of opportunity slams shut. Bless Israel by supporting Keren Hayesod United Israel Appeal, the leading official fundraising organization for the State of Israel. Together, we can fulfill the prophecy of the Bible.
Let us bless Israel together.
To donate and get information, call us at 1-800-505-1665 or visit our website at www.khisrael.org.
Please stay tuned for the ICEJ report from the International Christian Embassy, Jerusalem.
You know, when we talk about home, the first association is to speak about family. And this home indeed has become family for the survivors. It all started in 2010. Shimon Shabak, who directs today this house, he had a small soup kitchen here in this neighborhood. And he saw that Holocaust survivors were coming to his soup kitchen, and he felt if there are needy Holocaust survivors, we need to do something about it. And he asked us to come, and he showed us a small apartment where he wanted to host 13 Holocaust survivors. He said, can the Christian Embassy help us to purchase that building? I looked at the entire building, which was a 4-story building. I felt the Lord talk to me, and I said, Shimon, why don't we buy the entire house? I was driving away from Haifa and thought, oh my gosh, what did I do? And how do we ever get this money together? I was pleading with the Lord, please help us. We have 5 months time to get the money together. For me, the biggest miracle was to see within 2 weeks people were sending us so much money like never before, that after 2 weeks we could purchase that building. And within those 5 months which we had, we could even purchase 2 buildings.
אני רואה גם שיש פה יד אלוהים במקום הזה. וללא המרקם בין השגרירות הנוצרית ליד עזר לחבר, המקום הזה לא יכל להתפתח. אז אני רואה בזה ממדרגה ראשונה את הדבר הטוב ביותר שקורה, ולא סתם באים לפה בני נוער, חיילים, שהם שומעים שנוצרים, הם מחזיקים את המקום, הם מתנדבים במקום, זה מראה שאפשר גם את ההיסטוריה לשנות בצורה טובה, והשגרירות הנוצרית היא דוגמה לכל הנוצרים בעולם איך אפשר לעשות דברים אחרת, ואתם עושים את זה גם ככה.
What I could see is that this house is providing an inner healing to those people to deal with their past in a positive way. You know, as a German, to see this home, and it's very humbling in many ways. You come from a country which wrote the darkest chapter of Jewish history, and today to be here and to see that you are able to open a new page in the life of the Jewish people, it's very touching. People from all over the country, they are applying, we want to be at the home for Holocaust survivors. And the very sad story for me is that many of them we have to tell no, we don't have the finances to add more people to it. So it's really my vision that by the end of this year, even we have 100 people here, or that we can expand this house here in this next few years, even for a couple of 100 survivors. Time is running out in Israel, and we need your help to continue this operation here in Haifa and even to expand it. The keys are in your hand. Please help us to open the door and welcome them home.
Are you a pastor or church leader looking for fresh vision for your ministry and a chance to see what God is doing in Israel? Join us in Jerusalem for the Envision Pastors and Leaders Conference. You will have the opportunity to connect with local Messianic and Arab pastors, receive exclusive briefings from key national leaders of the State of Israel, and enjoy special times of worship and prayer. To learn more about the annual Envision Pastors and Leaders Conference, visit envision.icej.org.
That's all for this edition of Israel Now News. I'm Yochanan El-Rom.
And I'm Erin Viner reporting from our studio in Jerusalem. Please join us again next week for all of your Israel updates.